Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Your three favorite bald person on earth are back here like every Thursday at 10 p.m. Italian time, 4 p.m. in New York, 1 p.m. in LA. I think it's correct. For the people that are watching live, of course, we are live, so you can interact together with us. We will pin your message because it's a live where we have a lot of interaction with Fred, with Zach, but also with the chat. For the people that are watching in replay, continue to comment because I'm reading the comments later. And then for the people that can't hear or later in replay because you are driving or you're in your office, don't forget Turin Giants on Spotify or Apple Podcast. You can listen it in audio form. That being said, don't forget also the YouTube channel of Turin Giants Official, where nearly every day you have also content with Fred, with Zach, with Farad, and with a lot of other people like Kevin that is not here today. Ciao Kevin, that from time to time is watching and listening to us. Buongiorno, Juventini. Buongiorno. Today we start with Zach. How are you doing, Zach?
I'm great because it's another win. Obviously, I'm putting the loss out of my mind and I'm focusing on the positives. I have to because the man to my right, well, I guess I should mirror my image is mirrored. Man to my right is often the other side. So I'm bringing positivity today, Beppe, and I'm always, of course, happy to be here with you.
Ciao, Fred.
Good evening, Beppe. I am doing fairly well, considering the circumstances, not just the game, but the night before the Napoli game, I had a car crash. I think it was God's way of telling me to don't watch the game, but I did nonetheless. I don't know which was more painful, but that's another discussion. And yeah, I'm enjoying the win as far as I can enjoy it, but we'll get deeper into that during this episode, I feel.
But not too, or how can I say, niet te erg. Translate it yourself because I don't know how you say it in English.
No, I'm not too badly injured. Just something on my ribs and a torn muscle from my neck to my shoulder. Some bruises like the seatbelt that's burned into my chest because of the clash, of course, and a bit of whiplash. But apart from that, whatever doesn't kill you and such. So. The car's gone though. The car's completely gone.
But you still feel better as Dusan Vlahovic.
I don't know. If let me take a look at my bank account. I think if Vlahovic crashes his car, he has the next one in the morning ready for him. I'm not such high tier VIP as Dusan, so if we compare that, I think he'll feel a bit better. But I'm okay. So I take it with a pinch of salt and a smile, and it's all good.
I have the support from the people in the chat. I hope you're okay, Fred, from Thomas Makluf. Buongiorno, Don Simon. Get well soon. I owe Jack for some positivity from Bianconeri. We have Mas. We have Sir Raz, a car crash like Harry Potter. I didn't get the joke, but it's okay. Buongiorno, Sasha. On time today, and that's always super important. Ciao, Marius. Cadiz 30. Jack Calcio is here next to me, but he's also there in the chat. Buongiorno Tomas, Ciao Juve fan. We have Pino Bianconero that yesterday became a member of the channel again. Ciao Matteus, ciao Shaving the Head, Speccaxi, ciao a tutti, ciao a tutti. I can't wait, but today we have a beautiful agenda. We speak, of course, about the game of yesterday. We go towards that 4-2-3-1. Is it now the definitive formation of Luciano Spalletti, or will he wait a bit until Gleison Bremer or maybe another player from the Calcio Mercato in the winter will arrive? We'll speak about that. We'll speak about Zhegrova 45 minutes, about Manuel Capitano Locatelli. We will speak about a lot of things today, but first of all, just to put a bit of ambiance, guys, and to see if you are really prepared. If you are really prepared, if you are really up to date with everything Juve. That's super important.
Oh dear. Oh, I'm so nervous. Oh no, here we go. All right,
Show
bring it on,
me-
Beppe.
Show me the Kenan Yildiz star celebration.
I mean, I can't. It's something.
It's this.
Is it? Yeah. I haven't practiced, Beppe. I haven't practiced.
Yeah, but that's why. Hey, ragazzi. Guys, can you rate Frederick and Zach star of Yildiz, please?
No. I rate myself. What's the lowest? What is it? What is this rating on? Can we use the scoops?
You know that the ratings
1 to
here at
5?
channels are from 0 to 5. I like the 5-0 of Paris Saint-Germain Inter.
I'll. Can I give myself 1 just sort of as my own participation or attempt?
You can. Let's try with Beppe.
Okay.
Wait. I need to put myself bigger. Otherwise,
Wait. No, it's like what? Yeah. See. Already screwed up.
It starts from the Spider-Man thing. Okay.
Start with Spider-Man. Then you need to go. Wait. You need to go
it's like that.
this. This one is attaching here. Then you put these fingers here. Attenzione. We have it nearly up. This should be the star of Kenan Yildiz. I have really strange fingers, but this should be the star. Like, guys.
Well,
rating.
Bro. Bro.
I'll give it a 6 or a 7.
Dai, Beppe is 4. Yeah, a 6 or a 7. That was a beautiful one. Oh, ragazzi, we have 3 points. We have the morale because we had a win. The 4th win in 5 games. We had a beautiful second half. We had Zhegrova for 45 minutes. We had Yildiz. We have Chico Conceição. The goal of Jonathan David. Locatelli that went out at the 60th minute. We had a clean sheet. We had Bremer on the bench together with Rugani. But we had a horrendous first half. So this is about the game of yesterday. We have a lot of things to say, also Mercato, etc. But this is a bit the recap. Tell me, how did you feel yesterday before the game, during the game, after the game?
You wanna see a reaction, and when you saw the starting 11, you're like, okay, you just swapped Zhegrova in for Chico, but it's a pretty strong 11 based on what players we had available. Let's get that reaction. Let's take a team at home that we should beat easily and be professional. And that was not at all how it played out, Beppe. So it was a very frustrating game. But I will absolutely take a win. I'll take an improvement in the second half. I will take the tactical adjustment that Spalletti made and the players responded well to as a positive sign into 2 very important matches in the league.
I agree to a certain extent, but it was when you look at that first half. I'm not going to talk so much about the second half because I think the second half should be somewhere around the benchmark that we expect this team to perform. Never mind the opposition. But if you look at that first half, and especially the lack of mentality that we showed, for me, that was really, really, really frustrating because, in my opinion, this was one of the worst halves we played in years. And I felt extra bad because you come off that Napoli game where the whole media criticized you because you lacked that mentality in that game. And now you get, after a couple of days, an open shot at home and a vital importance, a game of vital importance in a European game. And, you know, just those premises alone should be good enough to light you up, to give you that hunger, that thirst, that feeling for revenge. And it just didn't show. So to me, I was thinking, wow, is this team now completely lost because they lack so much? Let's not talk about, you know, the technical abilities or whatever, but this is the first thing that you need to put out there on the pitch, even if things are not going your way, and they're unable to show it. So I was shocked, to be honest. Didn't expect such a dramatic first half.
I think I'd fully differentiate this game from the Napoli match, though, despite, say, the first half being really bad and the Napoli game being very bad. We were really just doing it to ourselves against Pafos as opposed to the Napoli game. Our touch and our pace was very confused. And during the course of a long season, we see these types of performances from all teams, all top teams, against the mid-table and the low-tier teams that you have to fight through despite just not having your A game. We were at fault for the pace. We were at fault for just the inability to control the ball in that first half. I don't think Pafos necessarily did anything magical to make us bad. I think we did it to ourselves. It was just one of those games where there was a hangover effect from Napoli. But what's really important about those games, one, is you make adjustments where you need to, whether it be substitutions and tactically, which the coach did, and 2, take advantage of your moments in order to ensure that even on the days where you just don't have your stuff, And we know Cambiasso had an absolute horror show of a game. But in one moment, he able to create an opportunity that McKennie put in the roof of the net to put us ahead. And so in the game, those types of games that you have to suffer through that happen multiple times every year, this is exactly the script that you need to happen in order to get through those and move on to the next. And so I think this is different from the wrong formation, with the wrong attitude, with the wrong positioning against a better Napoli team who just absolutely destroyed us for much of that game.
There is Masoud, because this was one of the topics that I wanted to go through a bit later, but Masoud is writing, so let's answer it immediately. Do you think that Spalletti started Zhegrova to show us that he was not ready?
No.
Yes and no.
No coach in any level of sport, in any sport, and anywhere in the world is going to start a player to show anybody else that they are not ready to play. That is
Except
not
Spalletti.
That is that is absurd.
No,
I think it was. Frederic is gonna. Not even Frederic.
I agree.
No,
I
think Spalletti. It was a test for Spalletti himself, because I think it's very hard for Spalletti to gauge how many minutes Zhegrova has in his legs, because he keeps getting that question as well in media. Why doesn't Zhegrova start? Why doesn't he play longer? And at the end of the day, you can't simulate a game in training. You can drive up the intensity, but it's a simulation nonetheless. A game happens with a lot more knocks, a lot more back and forth action, a lot more moments where the game is frozen, the tempo gets pushed up, pushed back, whatever. And I think for Spalletti, it was important to see how Zhegrova would react to starting a game instead of, what we're used to seeing, him subbing in for 10, 15-minute max. And I think he was also hoping on that little spark that Zhegrova might bring, which he didn't. But, in his defense, at least he tried. So I'm happy to see him, as in Spalletti, choose something different or try something out. And it didn't work out, but at least the good intentions were there, I feel.
No, I agree with both of you. No coach in the world would just put a player in to show to people, especially because it's an in or out game in Champions League. We are not speaking about Juventus A against Juventus B in a family friendly. That's not what we are speaking about. So no, it's not to please the fans. When you can please a fan, when you won the Scudetto and you're playing at home the last game and you play Pinsoglio. This is when you please and Pinsoglio and the fans. This was not, but it's true that with limited training sessions, it was the moment for himself to test Zhegrova to see what and how much he could give, knowing that then you have a Conceição that is ready to enter. I was already happy to see him 45 minutes, but I was absolutely aware. I was not expecting a big game of Zhegrova from the beginning. Maybe the 10 first minutes that we could see a sparkle where he tried a bit, but that's what I was expecting, much more than that. Not because starting a game, and agree or disagree, guys, but starting a game is different than entering from the bench, because it's a more tactical game. The 11 opponents are in full form because you have possession, non-possession, because you are not running behind the score. It's totally different as entering.
Pressure as well. If you start a game, there's a lot more pressure when you come in the last 10 minutes. The game is all but decided. So the only thing you can do is have a more positive impact on that game. For now, you start the game in balance with Pafos, and that people are watching you and expecting you to pull that move, do something different, because, hey, it's the first time you're starting. So I think I was hoping that he'd be mentally stronger in that aspect, but I can assume that with the injury, with the pain he still has, with the lack of coherent training, that it's something that gets in your head as well. So I think there were a number of reasons as to why Zhegrova wasn't as good yesterday as we expect him to be.
I think another thing to add, and it was noted by Spalletti as well, just real quickly, is it was very clear looking at first half versus second that Kalulu McKennie knew how to play around Chico way better than they knew how to play around Zhegrova. And so I think there's a little bit of a cohesion there.
I don't know because you played in a total different way from the second half with Conceição, while you played another way in that first half. Because in that first half, and then we'll go towards Locatelli later, but you have a Kalulu that is obliged to build the game, that is obliged to be the regista on the right side of the field, and Pafos, they knew absolutely that this was the man to give the ball to because nothing would have happened from there, which was a total different game when you went to a 4-2-3-1 with Koopmeiners, Miretti, and a better, much better McKennie. That was a disaster as well in the first half, but much better in the second half. Weston McKennie. So it's different. Now, I think to close the chapter of Edon Zhegrova, I hope that now all the people that were cheering and were not listening to Zach, to Kevin, to Fred, and to myself when we said he is not ready, but on top of that, Spalletti, Tudor, and the coach of Kosovo, now they will not go towards the other extreme in starting to judge him like, hey, it's a player that cannot start a game, it's a finished player, what did we sign? Because that's not the reality. And if we are going towards La Gazzetta dello Sport, that today started already with Zhegrova 5, which was the worst one on the field, calma, because this was absolutely not the game to judge the qualities of a player, the potential of a player. Can he play 45 minutes against the Bologna? Depending what level of Zhegrova you expect, depending how his body will answer. But I think that now in the next coming game, we'll again see him gradually gaining some minutes to play maybe a bit against Bologna, a bit against Roma, depending on the score, and maybe much more in the other games that are Pisa, etc., etc. But this is not the game to judge him.
I just feel if we have to, we need to take a step back and maybe consider the fact that, or start from the hypothesis that we won't see a fully fit Zhegrova this season. That way we can be disappointed. I mean, I think we need to give him time.
Signing then?
No,
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 no.
no, no, no. A fully fit Zhegrova is somebody who breaks the game in half, who can tear defenses apart. He's an added value, but I just feel that it's very hard with the type of injury that he had to make some sort of assessment as to how long it will take to recuperate and what's the best method to recuperate, because this is not like a meniscus. You sew it on back, or you pull it out the knee and then you have your revalidation. This is something way more difficult, which you don't have a grip on. You can only dose your workload and take it from there. And sometimes you get from level 4, when you reach level 4, you get back to level 0. And that's very frustrating, but not just to us, also to the player. And I think if we give him a bit more time, we give him a good preparation and a bit of rest, I'm hoping that the Pupil G will be something that is something of the past, and we can see a fully fit Ada next season. But I wouldn't, count on him fully this season.
We should be smart about it.
From what I heard about the Pupil G is that he did that surgery. The surgery went, I'm not saying wrong, but it has nothing to do with Juve because it's something that has been done before him joining, but in a way that it takes more time to recuperate. That's what they told me.
A lot of scar tissue. They had to remove, from what I've been told, a lot more than they planned, which resulted in a lot more scar tissue. And because of the fact that at that point of the body there's a lot of friction, that's something where the joints and everything, the muscles are always in movement. It creates more tension, more friction, thus for irritating the scar tissue much sooner and bringing back that pain or that obnoxious feeling and inflammation and whatever. So it's very difficult to assess, difficult to operate, and even more difficult to recuperate from. So I think he just needs time.
I have a beautiful question here from Alessandro that is saying, I don't think that Zhegrova should have started. 60th minute, he should have come on. I will tell you otherwise, because Spalletti says after the game that he already planned to go towards a 4-2-3-1, but that he didn't want to do it in the beginning of the game, especially coming from the Napoli game. That's not what he says, but that's what I tell you, especially coming from the Napoli game. But then he's also telling us that we are also fragile, because he said, I didn't want to, again, confuse the players too much. But I really think that he had in mind and Zhegrova from the beginning to test him, etc., etc., but especially to have a much better impact in the second half, going towards that 4-2-3-1 already with a Conceição in his mind from the 45th minute. Am I wrong? That he already planned not only the player, but the change of style and formation in the second half, and also the man that would replace Zhegrova.
I don't know. I would not have planned that out for this game. I think it was more. It struck me more as a roll of the dice, but it's not how poor we were in the first half. I think you plan the Chico sub that you tell Zhegrova at some point this is happening. Okay, if it's at the halftime, if it's at 55th minute, 60, which depends on how you feel and how things are.
The 30th or the 45th. No way that he would have done more than the first half. No way.
But the formation change. Now puts everyone else on notice. Effectively, that and I know people have been rumbling that this is what we're going to go to, but you haven't seen it yet. Well, now they have. Now they've seen it. They've seen it with different personnel. They've seen it how we might play. And I'm of the thought that you don't show that until you're ready to really roll it out hard. And second half against Pafos after a crappy first half is not the moment that I would necessarily call for that under normal circumstances.
I think that he planned the formation change, but what I think is also realistic is that he himself is scared of implementing that formation, because if you look at the post-game interviews, there are a lot of gnarly comments about the players, about the mentality, and even the technical ability. He didn't go as far as saying the team is not is worthless, but he did hint that it is very difficult with the squad that he has to implement his ideas.
Am I wrong, or in the non-verbally saying it?
Yeah, you could tell by the
game as well, huh?
By the sidelines, indeed, because I never see Spalletti, because we're used to seeing a Spalletti coach intensively. That's one of his trademarks. But the last couple of games, it occurred to me that Spalletti was more introvert in terms of letting go, saying, okay, I can't change this. And I told that on the pod yesterday as well.
I thought he would resign between the first and the second half.
I was hoping for players to resign, but even during, I think before the Napoli game, he said to somebody from the coaching staff who was a bit agitated about how we took care of set pieces in training. He literally said, questo siamo. This is what we are. Don't expect me to perform a miracle, to walk on water or whatever, because you can see where we are lacking, what is needed, not just for me to play my vision of football on the pitch, but also for the team to grow and get, in long term somewhere. So I have a feeling that if we have some financial stability in the summer, and Spalletti will be the person being in charge of Juventus for a longer period, then I think he will very much push for a lot of changes.
I have three pictures. It's another game. Today I am in a gaming spirit. I have three pictures of the game, and I ask you to choose one different from each other and to explain me. The first picture is Miretti, the maestro, that is taking that set piece. 2. It's Cambiaso that says, I'm the man here. I take the corner kick. The third picture is Weston McKennie at the 45th minute that is looking what do we do with the throw in? The referee has the whistle, he's waiting. Maybe there is an attack and then we let it play. There is nobody, and they said, you know what, I give it in the back, and the referee correctly whistles instead of trying something. So choose one of the three pictures and elaborate on that one.
I'm gonna let Zach take point on this, because
you can choose the one that you want.
I mean, have you heard of a win-win-win scenario? This is a lose-lose-lose scenario. I'm gonna go with. Are you ready? I'm gonna go with.
He's not a maestro.
I'm going to go with the Cambiasso corner kick. Look, you didn't give me any good options, Beppe. I got to roll it with one. So here we go. We're gonna just largely make some shit up here. I thought that corner kick was actually a masterstroke from Cambiasso. He wanted to make everybody who forgot how horrible he was in the first half, he wanted to remind them how bad he was, so that they would give him a little bit of space, so that 15 minutes later he could step inside from the right side, slot a pass into McKennie, and get a beautiful assist on a goal. So really, what I think is that Cambiasso, with that corner kick in the 52nd minute, was playing 67-degree chess on everybody around him, including us viewers. How about that, Beppe?
I'm still hurting. Like I'm literally crying, but I hope you guys can't see it. But if I have to pick one, I'm gonna go for our amazing free kick, because gone are the days that we're so how shall I put it? It wasn't, at a certain point in time for Juventus, free kicks, they weren't exciting anymore. Zidane, Pirlo, Del Piero. And now we've entered the area that when we have a free kick, if we have one, anything can happen. Literally anything. And yesterday was a definitive proof of that, because I've seen bad things in my life football-wise, but this took the absolute cake. This was as if like all the talent was drained out of him right before that free kick, and just somebody said, let's pause and freeze their brain and see what happens. To me, that was divine intervention. That was God pulling strings and saying, hey, let's make it a fun episode here. Let's give Beppe something to talk about. It was horrendous. And for me, I don't know if the viewers in the chat know, at the time of COVID, when Pirlo was our coach, there was a sound clip of him during a game where he was screaming and saying some Italian expressions that are very colorful and repeating that 3 or 4 times. It involved the word fare e vai, and the rest I won't say. And that was exactly what I thought. I had that vision of Pirlo, and I gave up on some players at that point. I literally thought, this is just unimaginable. This is so bad. Imagine somebody who wants to look at an objective game of football, says, hey, it's Champions League, the best of the best. Let's put something on. Oh, Juventus at home, always nice. Or at least that was 5 years ago. And then you see him taking this free kick. I just, push out the TV and go hiking or something. Whatever. It was, yeah.
The worst thing is that Don Simon saying, but what it studied. Yeah, that's the worst thing, because Spalletti said we didn't have time to train a lot of things. We trained on set pieces. So that's the only thing that they studied. I was missing the Cristiano Ronaldo against the wall free kicks. They were much better than that one. What a disaster yesterday. Ragazzi, going towards Bologna, because we spoke about the horrendous first half, then we have that change, but what are the positives that you take from the game, not the one of Napoli, but from the game against Pafos, that you say, okay, what we saw gives me confidence that we will see again, or that we will do well against Bologna? Or did the game of Pafos give you confidence?
I want to just start off with just sort of a stipulation. This team is flawed. Okay, so just accepting that, when I look at not just Pafos, but the 3 wins prior to Napoli, I look at McKennie riding a moment of form, certainly, as well as contributing on the score sheet. David contributing to the score sheet. Spalletti adjusting successfully the personnel and the formations to show that despite the flaws, and we're going to have mistakes, we're going to see this, and we're going to talk about every single episode of every single one of our videos, of the so-and-so played bad or so-and-so's mistakes, because that's just what this team is. can we minimize the effect of those while maximizing the opportunities we have? And that's what we saw yesterday. And with this flawed team, that's going to be important to clawing back. I mean, Bologna had the draw against Lazio. They lost against Cremonese. They're they're playing today, so they get one fewer day of rest. I think if you can take those positives and build on the increase in form of guys like McKennie and David, in addition to people who are already in decent form, I think you'll have the opportunity to maximize those positive opportunities you have while minimizing the effect of the inevitable mistakes.
My positive takeaway is Locatelli being subbed, and I don't mean that in a mean way, not at all. But I feel that there was a very vast difference between the Juve with or without Locatelli, and I think, or I feel that it's also becoming a bit more apparent to Spalletti as well. I've always said this, and this not to take a cheap jab at Locatelli, but for me, he slows the play down way too much, make it much harder for us to be effective when we're attacking. And that's my main gripe, apart from the quality issues that I have and my personal vendetta against him. But I think we play without him in midfield, and there are other games that suggest the same. We play more freely in midfield and a lot more fast-paced, and I think that is something that we need, in my opinion.
I am not sure if we can take the 4-2-3-1 to immediately see it again against Bologna, listening to Spalletti, what he says. But what I take from the second half of yesterday is that I perfectly know, without Mercato, I know the 11 ideal starters of Spalletti in that 4-2-3-1. I understood it clearly. To me, it was extremely clear. I had already some ideas, but yesterday he made it extremely clear during the game, after the game. Not immediately for Bologna, but for the future, yes. And then I will tell you that also for the Mercato, I think that there is a position where clearly Spalletti wants to go super fast on, is the left back position. Left back, 100%. So what I understood from the words and game of yesterday, Cambiaso, why potentially we don't start with a 4-2-3-1 against Bologna? Because Bremer is not there.
Yeah.
If you recuperate Rugani, we could potentially. Otherwise, the second alternative is again Kalulu and Kelly center backs with McKennie and Cambiaso or Cabal, but it will be tough because Bologna is not Pafos, so it will be different. But he's waiting for that right foot center back. Otherwise, we have a problem. So that's why I don't know if we will see it immediately or not. But for the future, what I understood is Bremer and Kelly are center backs. For the right back, Kalulu, without any hesitation. For the left back, he's trying to recuperate as far as we can Cabal. Because for him, Cambiaso is not a defender. To me, at the moment, I'm asking myself if he's a football player, but that's another story. At the moment, he's not a left back because he said it, he cannot defend. He cannot defend. He goes into difficulty because it's a player that is offensively giving something, but defensively he has some problems in that 4-2-3-1. Then in the middle, yesterday, I clearly understood that Koopmeiners will have that position, but next to him, Thuram, because yesterday Thuram enters on the right side in that two-man, not on the left side where we always saw him, because you really want to test both of them. Then, of course, if Thuram is not able to reconfirm himself, that's another problem. If Koopmeiners is not able to deliver in that position, it's another problem. But in the ideal idea, if they are performing, these are the two that are starting. With the front, we have Yildiz, Conceição, Zhegrova, whatever. The one behind the striker, that is at the moment Jonathan David, is McKennie that can do multiple roles, and possibly Miretti, because he believes that Miretti can give something. I hated the game of yesterday of Miretti. To me, he didn't convince me since he was back, but we spoke about it. I told you, to me, he didn't show anything to deserve a start. I remember that in the chat, a lot of people were pushing, he showed. I said, no. But yesterday, I understood really a lot of things about how we want to play. Now, entering the Locatelli debate, I don't want to make it too long and too big because it looks like it's hating on the player that I'm not. But yesterday, when you are doing 0-0 against Pafos, and at the 60th minute you take away your captain, you take away Locatelli, that honestly, at the 60th minute, if we are speaking about individual, what they were giving, Locatelli was the best one. Between McKennie, Miretti, and Locatelli. Individual, it means work ethic, the efforts, recuperation of balls. He gave so much on an individual level, but do you remember the phrase that I told you last week? To me, he's not compatible with the football of Spalletti. And yesterday, taking him away at the 60th minute to play 4-2-3-1 was clearly, to me, clearly Spalletti saying, Locatelli is not the player that I want in my football, because he will never be that player. I can use him, yes, but that's not in my ideal world. So we saw the whistles to Locatelli. I think they were not deserved of yesterday, the whistles. But it's true that now it's already 5 years that he's there. Allegri, Tudor, Thiago Motta. But it is not working. It is not working. And if we are continuing to say and repeating to say we have a problem in our midfield, Locatelli is part of it. Or he's used in a bad way from every single coach, or it's not just not working. And yesterday, the change at the 60th minute is telling you so. To me, it's extremely, extremely significant.
No, and also I think, let alone the captaincy, let alone the position, I think we are more demanding of midfielders, and especially with Italian midfielders. I think even if you give somebody 5 years with a lot of the ups and downs we've had, more downs than ups, to be honest, you expect them at a certain point to embody that frustration in the sense of putting it into something positive. And I think most fans right now, they have this feeling that Locatelli, since day one at Juve and current day, hasn't evolved in any way, shape, or form. And I think that's the biggest issue with them, because for Locatelli, as a player with his skill set, it's very hard to put his stamp on the game. Whereas other midfielders, they shine by doing the most in defensive work or offensive work, providing goals or assists. But in Italian, Locatelli is not fish and not meat. That's a sort of expression in Italian, and that's the huge thing. And I was talking to Zach today via WhatsApp, and I know that Zach is very statistic minded, rightfully so, always very good prepared. And I have to say, I was shocked, because in 15,500 minutes of playing time, Locatelli gathers, what was it? I wrote it down. I think 7 goals in total.
11 assists, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Let
12
me really
assists.
fast answer to Paul. I think he will start against Bologna. I didn't say that immediately.
No, he will.
Never see him again. That's not what I said. No, he will start, and he will do well individual. But if we want to go towards the idea of football of Spalletti, Locatelli is not. Or he changes, or he's not.
My thought on that, though, is that is not a product. That's a product of Spalletti preference, not anything wrong with Locatelli's game, because Locatelli's game is what it has been since he was at Sassuolo. It hasn't materially changed what he brings to the table. It doesn't, Beppe. It's the exact
different at Sassuolo than he is at Juve.
Nope.
Sassuolo was a different player for me. As Mezzala, he was a lot more.
He was really different.
So
For me-
so Juventus definitely has him playing deeper. Okay, but like one of the frequent gripes that Frederic has is he doesn't score goals or contribute to assists.
I don't care about that.
No. But I mean that's Frederic, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
He never did at Sassuolo. I mean, the Sassuolo teams scored 10 more goals a game than Juventus has.
I think he had an average of 3 or 4 per season at Sassuolo, but I can be wrong.
It's immaterial. It's immaterial. So he averaged.
No, it isn't. I'm sorry.
0.22 goal contributions a game, and for them, and for us, it's 0.15. I mean,
that's
less.
half. It's half.
Yes,
he
but
played 100 games for Sassuolo.
As a team, Frederic, we score 10 fewer goals a season than Sassuolo did with him. Our team,
But
the attacking issues are run much deeper than Locatelli. So saying he's not contributing to that when every coach has him playing deeper
but that
is
is
unfair to him.
but that's my main gripe, because we bought a player that's irrelevant to our game or how the way we
But that's
play.
not his fault. That's not. Why would you
No,
criticize
but
him?
I'm not.
If that's
I'm
your
not-
case, you can't criticize
I'm-
him for it.
No, I'm criticizing him because I feel that if you're a captain, let alone not a midfielder, but if you're a captain, you need to put the team on your back. And I criticize him not just because of his performances, because he did have some lackluster performances in the 5 seasons that we've seen him, but also, and this is my main gripe, if you are the captain, if you are an Italian captain, if you know what Juventus means and represents, even the period that we're in, you need to do better. And as well, not just in game, but as a captain on the training pitch, in the locker room, wherever. I see a Locatelli that's always turning with the wind, choosing, oh, Tudor, we never trained as hard with Tudor. Oh, he has such great ideas. Tudor was out. Spalletti was in 2 days. Spalletti brings so many new ideas. He does so. I can't stand that. I need a captain who's rigorous, who says to the team, if the team's at fault, you guys are at fault. We are at fault. We need to change. And this is my main gripe with Locatelli. For me, it doesn't. He's somebody without a backbone. And I don't mind the lack of goals or vertical or horizontal passing or whatever, because he puts his heart and soul in every game. I agree there. But I need somebody with a bit more backbone, because if you're the captain, you're there for 5 years, you show no backbone in the dressing room. How do you expect the new people to integrate themselves? Because
it's simple though. Like, it's simple because we all work. At least you and I, Frederic, we work with a lot of people every day, and we look around. Not all of them are leader material.
You're saying that I'm an alone man.
Well,
man.
you're sort of a lone wolf over there, Beppe. If you worked with people who weren't leader material, I'd have a lot of questions for you.
I'm extremely happy I'm not working with people anymore. Mamma mia. Oh my man.
But the thing is you then say, okay, well, it's not goals, it's his leadership credentials. He was appointed leader in a leaderless team, so he picked the worst option. Or and so you put him in a position where he's not successful. That's not his fault. If you say, oh, Zach, you can't base it all on stats, let's read the game. Okay, his midfield trio, he had Betancourt and Aaron Ramsey to start. He had McKennie and non-contract year Rabiot. He then had contract year Rabiot and not McKennie. So who? He's not been surrounded by any good players. And I think the fact that he's Italian and we look at him and say he should be the leader and he needs to embody this, and he's been appointed captain, so he needs to live up to this idealized image. I understand. I want him to be better than he is. But what I'm saying is it's unreasonable to expect that he is anything other than he has been. His stats literally and contributions to the game literally are the exact same for the last 2 years than they were at Sassuolo. And you say,
I knew all the people that I was working with every day, Zach.
But if you go from Sassuolo to Juventus, I think you need to make some sort of change in a positive way. You need to step up a bit. And if you're now saying that he's performing the same statistically with Sassuolo and Juventus, then there's the issue, because our midfielder, our captain, is a Sassuolo player. That's the issue. He's mediocre. And we can pull out statistics all day, and I'm sure there's a fair point to them, and Comoli will agree because he's very large on statistics. But if you look at the game, I see a midfielder that's not meat, that's not fish, that slows down our attacking movements constantly, needs 5 or 6 touches in order to control a ball.
Spalletti said it clearly yesterday, Frederic. Look at what he's saying after the game. It was fundamental to win because winning helps winning. Okay. And then he says, but we had to do more. I am not happy. The players are not happy. In certain moments, we did the minimum. In certain situations of the first half, we were embarrassing. In the second half, we freed up our mind and we started to play. He's telling you, we free up our mind because we started to play as I wanted to play. And this is not with Locatelli, because in the first half we were not doing well with him because we were slowing down. Because instead of him building up and taking the ball and carrying the team, it was Kalulu That was always the man that was unmarked and that had to build, and it was a disaster. By the way, I love the game of Kalulu, but him is not the player that needs to build with Loka there. From the moment he was gone, the people, they freed up their mind and their play. It was totally different. The way of playing, the approach to the game, and the velocity of attacking, it was totally different. That doesn't mean that he's good, not good. He has characteristics that, to me, in the way of playing of Spalletti, are not there. And he's telling you, because he's speaking about minimum work done, he's speaking about being embarrassed. And when one is saying we were embarrassing, but you keep Miretti, McKennie on the field, Miretti and McKennie were much more. Yeah, but I'm speaking about midfielders. Huh? They were worse than Locatelli in terms of technical play, about individual. But you keep them and you take actually the one that is there. It means it's not about the individualities or how strong you are or not. It's the one that is matching my football or not. And I take away the one that is not giving me something in my football idea. That's what he said yesterday.
And I honestly think that Spalletti has that idea, not just of Locatelli, but maybe 3, 4, 5 more players we have in our squad.
Oh, yeah.
So, because I saw a question in this chat, somebody was asking, why do I always bring up the mediocrity of our players? Because we already saw the best of them. I don't think we saw the best of them, because if I look at a McKennie under Spalletti, it's a day and night difference than the McKennie we saw with Tudor. So the coach and the formation will have their role. But the reason I'm addressing this, the mediocrity in general, is because if we want to get somewhere, these are the things we're going to have to change inevitably. We cannot continue setting the standard for 4th place, having a mediocre team, and fight till the death or to the last day every season, because then you're in a loop. And if we continue spending the way that we spent money, 300 million the last.
You want to hear the words, the exact words of Spalletti, why he didn't call up Locatelli in the national team?
Yes.
Back then, so not Juve coach. He said, Manuel Locatelli has a good foot. He has exceptional defensive qualities, but probably he's too conservative for where the role is going, the direction of the role is going. These are the words of Spalletti about Locatelli.
Yeah.
Exceptional defensive qualities, a good foot, but too conservative for the role that is developing. And you know who we called up? Fagioli. Fagioli that didn't play for an entire year because he was banned, and he took him to the Euro instead of Locatelli. Yeah?
But that, I guess my whole point is if you're not that type of player, that doesn't, if you're not a manager's style of player, that doesn't therefore mean you're bad. And I feel like Locatelli gets ridiculous amounts of hate. Oh, Beppe.
No, I mean here in the room, in the virtual room, nobody's saying that.
No, I honestly, no, I think he's mediocre. That doesn't mean bad. For me, he's not. I mean, some people, no, but I don't expect Pirlo things of him because he's not Pirlo, nor do I expect Bonucci things of him because he's not Bonucci. But this is just my issue. He's neither of both. And he doesn't show us the progress in those 5 years that everybody was hoping for. And that's my gripe.
I have a third game. Okay. Marchisio made a ranking of his Serie A midfielders. I show you the ranking. Where is Locatelli? He's not there. Where would you put him? And also tell me if the ranking, you agree, you don't agree. Marchisio, midfielder of Juve, is putting the captain of Juve out of his top 10.
If that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does. And I think Marchisio has seen his fair share of good midfielders, because I saw the interview with the Gazzetta dello Sport, I think it was, on the podcast. And he was basically saying this Juve is badly constructed on and off the pitch. That was the main takeaway from the whole interview regarding Juve. So if you say that, and then you should put Locatelli in the top 10, then you're lying to yourself. So he's very consistent about his
He put
answers.
Cristante over Locatelli.
This list though is a little bit bullshit though.
For the people that are listening to audio, let me read the ranking, at least they know. Modric 1, Barella 2, Çalhanoğlu 3, McTominay 4, Anguissa 5, Ederson 6, Rabiot 7, Kone 8, Thuram 9, Thuram Juve, and Cristante 10.
Because you look at this, and Rabiot coming back, and obviously he's been integral to any Allegri side that he's played on. But I think this is a little bit optimistic. Kone's a fantastic player for Roma from a potential standpoint. I don't think he's put in the work to deserve being above Locatelli. Khéphren Thuram, we all know, should not be on this list above Locatelli because his form has been horrible this year. And if you're just dreaming about last year, like many of us are, then that does us no good. And Cristante shouldn't be on this list. So like Locatelli, if we just leave the top 6, he should be 7 in my book. Because anything beyond that,
who do you put out of the list? Cristante?
I'd definitely take Thuram out of the list.
Yeah.
Completely.
Okay, and who else?
And then I would, and then for lack of long discussion, move Rabiot, Kone down, put Locatelli in.
Rabiot down! What are you hearing? Rabiot needs to be at least in the top 3. Ragazzi, what are we speaking about? Rabiot! No, Zach, we are not friends anymore. No! Rabiot! Down!
He's played what, 8 games of Serie A this year? I mean,
we are not friends. We are not friends
because
anymore.
he plays 8 games.
I can accept.
That's ridiculous.
I can accept 5 lives with you speaking about Locatelli. We can debate, and I will accept your arguments, but not when Rabiot. No, Rabiot is top 3. To me, it's even the best. He's number 1. To me, it's even the best player of Serie A.
The games he's played this season, I sadly have to agree because he wasn't my favorite player when he played for Juventus. And with regards to the Marchisio comment, because this is his opinion, of course, so we can debate about Marchisio's taste all day long. The Cristante one, I don't understand. I have to agree with Zach on Thuram. He has no right to be in that spot, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm sorry, and I have to also, I don't know, Modric number 1. I see the impact that Modric made, but I put him a bit more down, to be honest, because now we're rating the name Modric and not the performances. So I feel that's a bit overstated. And can I see the list back again? There was another name, but I can't remember if it's not too much. Also Ederson. In the past, I think Ederson was a very, very good player for the game that they had at Atalanta, which is nowhere near the game that they're putting up today. And I don't think that Ederson is a vital part of that. So I don't know. I don't think I'll agree with Claudio on this one, but it's his opinion and his taste. So I think we shouldn't argue there. But
no, but the point is to get back to what we were talking about is that, at least in my opinion, Locatelli should be on this list, and it makes it a ridiculous one. So it's like if Marchisio is entitled to his opinion, and if he doesn't put the Juve cap, that's fine because he has his own criteria. But if you think about the contribution, whether you look at it this year or whether you look at it over any time horizon within the last 5 years, right? For what he does, Locatelli is been the best midfielder at what he does in Serie A. Now, what he does, Frederic, says is not what we want, or what Beppe says is what he does is not what Spalletti wants. But what he does, he is the best in Serie A and has consistently been for the last 6 or 7 years.
Well, then I honestly hope that somebody across the pond notices that and offers us a hell of a lot of money so we can offload him. Because to me, it's very strange that if somebody is the best in Serie A for 5 or 6 seasons, that no crazy bid has come in yet for him. I don't know. I look at transfer market, I see his value 30 million. Makes me question then if he's the best player consistently in Serie A at his position. I
didn't say his position. I said what he does.
Yeah, what he does, okay, but
he does 2 things really, really well, And if you don't want that, that's fine, because people want flashier players. He's not going to be that. He never will.
I think you just expect. I think you expect more decisive players, especially in that role. And I'm not saying just on goals or assists, because for his position that has no relevance. But you expect those true passes or that tempo increase whenever he gets the ball, and he did at Sassuolo. I recently just looked clips of him at Sassuolo and even at Milan. He tried to gradually, make attacks go faster by moving balls fairly quickly above the pitch and then playing into players that could be of attacking importance. He just doesn't do that now, and I think that's a shift that he created himself, and I think that was fed due to Allegri's tactics as well. He grew into that role, but now we're seeing that specific plan is just not working in today's Juventus, nor in modern football as a whole, because Allegri isn't doing that with Milan at this point. So it's obsolete.
But even when he played further forward at Sassuolo, which he did, right? And he played a little bit quicker. And I agree with you that the coaches ask him to play deeper. He still has never had more than 10 through balls in a Serie A season in his career. Not even at Sassuolo, not even close. He's never been the creative mind. He's always been a passer of the ball who then recovers it when the team loses it. That's what he does. That's what he does. Like, literally, if you look at his stats 6 years ago, they are the exact same at the top of Serie A, at the top in tackling and progressive passing. That's it.
I just don't.
He's the best at what he does in that, and that might not be Spalletti. That might not be, which is fine. But
I agree.
But we cannot then conclude, as has been said, that Locatelli is bad.
No, of course not, because I'm with you on that. My whole thought process at this point is, imagine if we had a fit Vidal and a Marquisio, and we put them in this day alongside any other midfielder from Juventus, whether it be McKennie, whether it be Loca, whether it be who else do we have, Thuram, whatever. I think our midfielders would become better because of the addition of the other two. With Loca, I don't have that feeling. I don't have the feeling that if we decide to bring in whoever in midfield, a big name, big talent, whatever, I don't think that will make Locatelli a better player. Locatelli, for me, is not a player that is going to improve. He's not going to get better. He does what he does and whatever, but he's not going to get better. And for me, that's a sign that after 5 years of not evolving, to put a step back.
I disagree in the sense that what his role is clear. We've got what is it, Lurch, Beppe popping up. Is that our sign to stop talking about Locatelli, Beppe? Because Frederic and I could probably go on forever on this. We are very
we'll go for something else, but how can I say? Let me think. The best way to say what I'm thinking at the moment.
If you need more time, Beppe, I think Frederic and I can go a couple more rounds. I'm just warming up.
Easily.
Give me one more second.
If I may, I see a question in chat popping up. I'll give a quick response to that from P. Costadimas. He asks, I have a question for Frederic. Why does every coach play and start Locatelli? And the question or the answer there is fairly simple, due to a lack of alternatives. I think he's good at what he does, but if you'd have, like I said, a type of a Vidal or a Marquisio there, and you had to choose, or any coach would be forced to make that decision, I think logically every coach would go for that. So that's why I'm saying that if we decide to be active on transfer market, especially in that area of the pitch, then for me it's a clear-cut case that he'll lose his spot eventually.
But that's kind of also my point, Frederic, is why we dogging on a guy who is surrounded by a bunch of
I'm not no. I'm like, it's not my thing to dog on him. I just feel.
I want to speak about Jonathan David, but before that, I close the topic saying that We went out of the game, Locatelli, and then we scored 2 goals. I cannot prove it. I cannot prove it. I cannot prove it. I cannot prove it, but I cannot prove it. You know how is the meme? I can't prove it. Anyway, Jonathan David, one disaster flop, and then one really beautiful goal that Dusan Vlahovic showed us that he's missing it. Conceição is missing them. Jonathan David scored it 1-on-1 versus the goalkeeper. What is the assessment on Johnny? That I don't know if you saw him, but when he had the hug of Spalletti, he was not laughing at first, but then he started to smile. He was happy to have that sincere accolade from Spalletti.
He's not an expressive guy, so a smile from him, is evidence of what it means to him. And the thing is with Jonathan David, it's two aspects of his game. Two aspects of his game is that he drops into possession, which is why we saw him play at the 10 for a little bit to facilitate possession. He's averaged more than double completed passes than we saw from Dusan and Colomani last year. We've seen the contribution to the build-up play. What we've been missing from all of our strikers has been a reliable goal presence. And ultimately, that's how strikers are judged. The fact that he's been able to get on the score sheet, whether it's a simple goal, which, let's be honest, I mean, he still had some work to do on that goal yesterday, but it's a goal he should have scored. Any striker should have scored. The fact that he's now getting involved statistically in the attack, I think is really important for our team. Sans Dusan, who I never really believed in the first place, but also for his own confidence and for the rest of us to realize that we actually have a guy who can contribute to our team. A lot of discussion about his signing, a lot of discussion of that he's not the guy, he's too slow, he's too lazy, he doesn't smile. Well, he's showing, at least to me, when he's given these opportunities, that he is able to come good when you give him a run of games. And I'm not going to get into it. I was kind of pissed off at Spalletti for not starting him against Napoli after some of those performances. I think that did him a big disservice, but then he came back in and he recovered from that miss at the end of the first half to then bury a good, solid finish in the second goal.
Before Frederic answers, because I'm really sorry, because I pinned them that I really wanted to go and I totally forgot to answer them. So Sader and Mas, I hope you are there. 2 questions. And thank you, my guys. Sader is saying, Beppe, I have a question to you and to our friends. Who do you think was the bigger talent, Paul Pogba or Kenan Yildiz? And then I will take also Mas so that we answer both. Beppe, during Yildiz change, Thuram got the C, the captain band. Was it that moment you wanted to talk about later, or was it something else I missed? G plus G is Juve. No, I didn't want to speak about that. To me, it was not even the first time that he received the captain band, Thuram, because he received it last time. So I think that people got confused and they really believe that it's the first time, but it was not. So no, I didn't want to talk about that.
May I?
Yeah.
I mean, he is in the hierarchy of captains.
Yeah.
So him getting the captain armband was not odd. He is in the hierarchy, and he was supposed to get it next.
Yeah.
So there's no controversy or issue or anything to talk about. That was standard operating procedure. End of story.
Pogba or Yildiz? Sader and Mas, let me know if you are still there. Here, Mas is there. I hope Sader as well, because that would be disrespectful from me. But I totally forgot. Pogba or Yildiz?
Pogba all day, every day.
It's not every day we agree, Beppe, but Frederic and I are on the same page.
Pogba was of another planet. I mean, Yildiz is a great talent. But the things that Pogba could do technically and also in terms of vision, it was yeah, I think we forgot that because it's been a rough 5 years for Juventus supporters. But if you have the time to look back on what Pogba did, and not just talking about the goals, but just the presence in midfield and what he brought to that midfield, not only in terms of attacking but also defensively, this guy was a monster at all. I mean, if he had this day, then nobody, and it's not me saying that, but also his opponents, they said if Pogba had a good day, you could try whatever you want, but there was no point in beginning because he was omnipotent in that respect, and I think he was much more mature at a younger age than Kenan is in terms of football, not
You
in
know the
terms of
story, yeah?
person.
You know the story of his first training of Paul Pogba. They were Buffon,
Yeah,
Barzagli, Chiellini. They all grouped
Marquisio.
together and they started to laugh. They started to laugh at Manchester United. They said they are
Yeah,
totally crazy.
yeah.
How on earth did they let this is a robbery? This is daylight robbery. They never saw a player like him. I think personally it's always extremely difficult to compare players from different generations. Paul Pogba arrives in a Juve that is winning, that already had, it's really difficult. Kenan Yildiz that is arriving in 12, 13 probably would have been different. Now Paul is Paul. Paul is Paul. Paul Pogba is generational. It's a pity what he did with his career. I think it could be that Kenan Yildiz will have a more beautiful career, depending because he's on the good way. But at today, Paul Paul was
He
crazy.
was technically the most gifted player I ever saw, and I've seen my share of
Yeah,
technically gifted players. Pogba was.
yeah.
I can put him up there with Sisu in terms of technical abilities.
Yeah.
It's a tie for me with Sisu, and the presence, because Zidane had the same. Zidane had the same. He was that presence in midfield. He could be defensively very strong, attackingly. He just commanded respect in some way or form just by his presence or the way he handled the ball. And Pogba, in that respect, was the same. I saw him play numerous times, even live, and I thought this is. And the Marquisio story confirms it. They took him out after his first training. They took him out to dinner, and Marquisio said, when I saw him just train, I had to stop training myself. I just had to watch because that was something that I expected from a Del Piero who I've known for years. But somebody, coming out of Manchester United, we never saw him, we never spoke to him. He was that young and doing that things that was just amazing.
I have a last question before closing time. I don't know if you watch it or not, but Federico Bernardeschi, man of the match in Celta Vigo, Bologna. They won the 1-2 with Federico with a penalty at the 66th and then a goal. I was about to say, are we scared about Bernardeschi? But maybe that's a stretch. Are we scared about Bologna? Should we?
You never should be scared, but you
Never
should
should
be
be scared.
very aware and weary of the things that they do well,
Hmm.
and you need to prepare for that. I don't think this is a game where we can say it's not comparable to like Bodo Glimt or Pafos because you have the upper hand on them before starting. Now it's two teams that, in my opinion, are practically at the same level of what they're doing right now in Serie A, and the standings show that as well. And I think you need to be very aware of what they can do good. And I think if we can force them to not play their usual game, or at least not the majority of the match, then we'll stand a chance. But if we start with the same attitude as we started the games against, for instance, Napoli and against Pafos, then it will be very difficult because Bologna is known to play very aggressively. And surprisingly, is a team that can do that for 70, 80 minutes. They have the physicality to press for a long time and make it difficult for us. So what we need to do is to react on that. And I try to be or to implement a counterattacking structure for such a game, in my opinion.
And you know who would be the perfect midfielder to help facilitate a counterattacking structure?
Rabiot.
Not Locatelli.
Locatelli.
Or Koopmeiners.
We don't have the personnel. We need a center back in order to push him back up.
We could go
Bremer.
with 4.
Yeah, and Bremer is responding very well to intensive training as for now, which is good news.
I mean, that's good news, but we just talked about Zhegrova, about, sort of, let's be realistic about, when to be this year and with the slow recovery and stuff, having sort of a re-aggravation of an injury. I think Bremer, we need to be smart on that too. Starting the season off, him playing every minute was a disaster in retrospect. I mean, be
No, I
smart
don't.
about
I
it.
wouldn't play him every minute. No, of course, of course.
So, do we do the lineup against Bologna?
Let's do it.
Could this be if we play with four? I'm not sure if we will play with four, but could this be the lineup against Bologna?
I don't
It
think
depends. It depends on how you want us to play. If you go counterattacking style, I would play a 4, and we want to stick with 4 in the back. I would play a 4-3-3, and I would take out Moretti for Loca. If you want to press high up the pitch, then I could see this.
So you would do this.
Yeah.
I have to agree with Zach there, and I in my opinion, he's got to start with Luca as well, especially because if you have to make a choice between Locatelli as a starter or Moretti in this case, then one could argue that the experience alone that Locatelli has is way more valuable in these types of games than, let's say, Moretti. Moretti could do a good job as a sub or whatever. The only issue I have now is that for me, Locatelli and Koopmeiners at midfield don't gel. I think the pairing of Moretti with Koopmeiners for me is a much better fit. So you could argue that he's going to bring Moretti and nonetheless move Koopmeiners to Cabal's position and have that three-man midfield consisting of Moretti, Locatelli, and Thuram, which is another option that he could do, or even push McKennie forward. But I see you shuffling already, and I think that this is something that is bound to happen, that we will start with the three-man back line and eventually move into that hybrid formation, depending on how the game flows and if we need to chase or we need to defend. I think a lot will ride on that.
Really curious. Really, really curious. We have only one game, right? Before we see each other again next Thursday. Only Bologna.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just one.
And then it will be Roma.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there something important that I missed or that you want to go through? What a beautiful fight. Rabiot Locatelli today. Mamma mia.
I just wanted to point out that because I saw some questions popping up about the Scoop episodes, they will be there. Potentially, maybe even tomorrow. We have to discuss still. I don't know what Zach's itinerary is. We'll have it up. But I wanted to talk about, or wanted to ask you something, Beppe, about Mercato. If you had to make a choice and we could only attract one player in a certain position, would you go for the midfielder that everybody's yelling about, or would you go for the left back? And could you please explain who you'd pick, or the type of player you'd pick, and as to why? Sorry, but if you can play games, then I can too.
No. I think I don't know if we said it before the game or if before the game. I don't know if we said it before the live or during the live, but I really think that if there is a priority, there is a left back. It's a left back.
Yeah.
Because Cabal, we saw that he's trying, but to me, it's not at the level. Kostic, we tried out of contract at the end of the season. It's not the player that you want to renew. It's a good guy, but and Cambiaso, Spalletti couldn't be more clear than what he did yesterday. But Cambiaso, even you can potentially switch him or on the right, or you can play him up front, instead of Yildiz. If Yildiz needs to rest, why not? And because we don't have anybody that is at the moment subbing Yildiz. If you take away Yildiz, you're obliged to change or playing some players out of position. So you could potentially even play him there. But there is nobody that can really play on the left. On the right side, you have Kalulu, McKennie, Cambiaso potentially. You have a lot of players that could potentially play on the right side. Gatti could potentially, but on the left, nobody. So on the left, I think it's a priority.
Who would you sign?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea.
There are not a lot of good left fullbacks for grabs, I think.
The answer though is clear to me. It's a defender, and you can do some funny things if you get even just a center back in, assuming that Rugani and Gatti might be out a while, and you don't believe in them, and you're going to take Bremer along slowly, because you could easily do Cambiaso, who's been weirdly better on the right side this year, albeit not in as many appearances. But you could do the flat back four of center backs, whether you keep Coop back there, you put Kelly out wide to bring in another center back next to Gatti, Bremer, put Kalulu outside, put McKennie back on the right back side again, otherwise having center backs across your back to do it sort of offset. I think if you bring in a defender, you can make it work, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, into a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. If you bring in a midfield with our current defender situation, I don't know where you put that person unless you just start them over what we already have, because we have a very thin, vulnerable defense.
I just get Sergio Ramos, but we discussed that. No. I'm kidding, Zach. I'm kidding.
Sergio Ramos, I asked a bit. I had some confirmation that Juventus is really looking into it. They want to understand if he would be able to play with continuity at least once a week. They want to understand that. But I heard as well this morning on Twitter that Manchester United was trying or looking. I don't know. I continue to say Sergio Ramos.
He's messaging. He's messaging a lot with Modric. I think that says enough.
And with Rabiot.
Probably.
What a player. What a player. You will never understand the real value of Rabiot. Rabiot is a goat. And I mean, the most underrated player on earth.
I liked him on Juventus. But
exactly what is funny? The people say, but the son of Allegri will never be able to play winner. He went with the De Zerbi, that is the opposite. And he was best midfielder of Liga. And he was in the top 11 of Liga last season. He showed even with a coach like De Zerbi was crying when he left. He was crying. He really wanted to keep him to show the importance, but also in terms of leadership. But I'm a bit biased because I know him personally, and we talked a lot, especially when at Juve, but even after. So I know also why he didn't continue with Juve and so on. But I remember really well the leadership words that he had when I was at in La Continassa, when he spoke to me. He said, fourth spot, I don't believe in it. We need to go for first spot. This is Juve. We need to win. We need to win. And he was really taking the team. He was really acting like a captain, a silent captain in front of microphone. But every time that he spoke, also on social media, etc., to me, if Milan today is winning, is big part also for the leadership of seriously, then he's not doing the dribble. That's true, but so important, so really important. But anyway, he's gone.
He's gone.
I think the chat was asking for predictions as maybe the last thing we do for the Bologna game.
I said 2-1 for Pafos, and I said that we would lose 2-1 against Napoli. So no, I said we would lose 1-0. I said we would lose 1-0 against Napoli.
I can't remember my predictions, to be honest.
Because we did it last time, and I don't remember. I don't want to be inconsistent. But I predicted a win.
Yeah, of course.
I choose to believe, Beppe. I choose to believe.
I have them.
I predict.
He wrote them down. He wrote them down. At least somebody did.
I did. No. Of course, I have them. But the problem is, I have so many papers. I'm trying to find them. Voilà. Jack, Napoli 0, Juve 1. Juve 2, Pafos 0. Jack.
Nice.
I don't know about
Fred,
that Zach guy. He seems
2-2
pretty smart.
Napoli, Juve. 2-0 Juve Pafos. I said that we would lose 1-0 against Napoli, and I said Juve Pafos 2-1. So I won because I had two results correct.
But you needed to
I
do
said
the
we lose
score,
against
not.
Napoli and we win against Pafos.
Okay, then
guys
if
go
you ask
wrong,
me
huh?
for a
What happened?
prediction, I'll
I
just
don't
say
hear
win
you
or
anymore.
lose.
Is it me? It's me. Wait. Say it again, Fred.
Then, in the future, if you ask me for a prediction, I'll just say win, draw, or lose, and not be specific about the goals if that is the
Yeah, but,
barometer we're using.
How much is the
Like if you predict
how much is the
the
win in terms of points? Win
3
or if you
points.
have how
If
much?
you correct, if you have the score correct, I think you should be given 3 points.
The
If
score is 3
you,
points.
yeah, and then if you predict the
Let's
win
make
or
the
the
rule
loss,
now. Wait. We will
Oh.
make the rules. We will make the rules. Okay. So if you have not the score, but at least you know if it's a draw, a win, or lose. How
1
much?
point.
That's just 1 point.
One.
1
Oh
point.
yeah, the correct
Yeah,
result.
of course.
So correct result is 1 point,
Mhm.
and correct score is
+2.
so 3 in total.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Correct.
like 3 points for a win.
Score is 3 points. But that, no, I don't like that game. And no, because then if you guess just one, you have like 3 points, and the other one we don't care.
If you play football, it's the same.
If you win,
This is
you
what
get 3 points.
Locatelli
If you
faces
draw,
every week. This is Locatelli's life that you now experience every week.
Chat, you decide, guys. How because I went with Napoli. Juve had the correct result, and Juve Pafos had the correct result, not the score. So I mean, I knew how both games would end. They just have like one. The other one they didn't know. So it's not logic in a way. Yeah.
predicting the score is much harder than just a win or a
Del
loss.
Piero, he will be banned from the channel, but Masi can stay.
Mas said
See,
1 and 3
now
points.
the viewers
Mas
know how this
agrees too.
goes.
No, Beppe, sorry.
Banned.
No, Beppe, sorry. Yeah, you see, the guys are right. I think, Beppe, I'm sorry, but
Let's recalculate, Beppe. What are the points now? Sorry, hold on. What was the points?
Oh, okay, we do like you guys. I don't like it, but okay. Cannot we do like 1.5 for the result?
No, you can't do 0.5s.
Yeah, okay, so now we have only one game to do.
But we can start afresh if you want, Beppe. So we'll make the past one not count, and we start from the Bologna game, or we start January 1st.
Now we do for fun. From January we start with the real.
Now it's training. It's training. Okay.
Voilà. So Bologna, Juve, Zach, Fred, and GJustjuve. Go.
2-1 Juve.
2-2.
Ooh. For the folks listening, Beppe does not feel optimistic. Was that 2-0 defeat?
That's a harsh one. I was expecting a more optimistic Beppe after yesterday.
He
or
hedged.
after the second half.
So this is what it is, Frederic, is he's guaranteeing one of us gets at least 1 point. So we got a win, a draw, and a loss on the table.
No. He's trying to make us think that he doesn't know what he's doing, and in January he comes out all guns.
Yes, that's what. He's
yeah.
If you go back to the other episode, I'm always right with the result, not with the score. Apparently, now I need to focus on the score a bit. I didn't know that rule, but the results, I'm good. Huh?
True.
Unfortunately,
but you don't think
I have to survive on the points because I always predict a win.
you don't think that we take a lot of positives out of the second half as a team, I mean the players, and convert that into a more positive streak or run? No. Why?
Because that first half against Pafos was a real pathos. It was sad, huh? It was really sad.
Mm.
And because Spalletti keeps insisting that we are not ready for the 4-2-3-1, and if he goes with a 4-2-3-1, it will be an adapted 4-2-3-1 at the moment. So he's now in a really difficult situation. What do? I go with a 4-2-3-1, but it is adapted because I'm waiting for Bremer. And I'm scared about that, by the way, because he's relying too much on Bremer. I hope he has a B plan. Otherwise, we could potentially have a problem. But that's another story for later. But so, or he goes with a 3-5-3-4-1. But that has been seen against Napoli, against the other teams, Fiorentina, Torino, and we are not good. So I'm scared. I'm really scared about the Bologna game.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine.
Should never be scared. I mean, let's be real. They're a good team. That's a good team. But
no, scared is a big word. But someone said that under the comment section last time, it's not about underestimating Pafos, but it's actually about overestimating Juve. And because we are Juventini, we still see Juve as a but.
That's the Juve of the past.
Then I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, of course. But they didn't convince me enough for the game of Bologna. Then I believe in that 4-2-3-1 for a later step, and that it will start to work and to click after a few results. That could maybe even happen already against Roma, and then with the following games, and then you go. The Bologna game, it's a bit too early from what I saw.
I think, like we said last week as well, the games prior to New Year's will be very indicative of our future and what we will amount to in 2026 in that respect. And I think we lost a step there with the loss against Napoli, because to me, that was a very, very big game. We pulled a bit back with Pafos, but then again, you should expect us to beat Pafos, let's be honest. So we are none the wiser. And I think the Bologna game, they're not Napoli, but they're not Pafos either. They're somewhere in between, and that will be a very good test, not only for the team itself, but for Spalletti to make a decision. Because that's one thing I can criticize Spalletti on, is that he always did his thing the way he saw fit, and now he's very reluctant and hesitant. A bit the same as Tudor was. He tries to adapt to Juve, while at this point, I think we need a trainer where the squad has to adapt to the trainer, and I think that'll be much more positive for us as a squad. So I'm hoping for that switch up. Do I believe in it? We'll talk in January.
Buonanotte or buongiorno, I don't know, Zach. Thank you. You were again great. I'm super happy to have you on. Thank you to Frederic as well. Beautiful discussions. We see each other Thursday. Yeah. Let's see. Normally, yes, but I will confirm. But normally we see each other next Thursday at 10 p.m. Thank you to Neven into the chat. Neven, the video is ready about the tops. So we'll need to work on the thumbnail. Thank you, Neven. Thank you, Bogdan. Thank you, Carlo. Buongiorno. Grazie, Alessio. That was yesterday at the stadium. Ciao, Carl. Ciao, Saverio. Grazie a tutti. We see each other. Forza Juve. And hopefully I'm wrong for my prediction. Ciao.